Yeah, no problem.
Let's jump right into our headline topic here, which is YouTube is changing. Whether it's for the better or the worse, well, we'll leave that up to you. But first, why don't we go through the suite of new features that they announced on at Made on YouTube, several of which are AI powered. First up, we've got Dream Screen, which makes still and moving backgrounds for YouTube Shorts and will now use the newest version of Google DeepMind's text to video generator, Veo. Veo will allow for more realistic backgrounds as well as the ability to edit and remix previously generated content. In the first half of the year, Dream Screen will be able to generate entire 6-second clips from scratch. Whew, okay, so why don't we unpack this one first? We can kind of go through one by one. Um, Luke, thoughts? Generation of still and moving backgrounds for YouTube Shorts.
I don't think this is necessarily super new in the still backgrounds sense, because you could have done this with a variety of tools already that already exist. The moving background sense is interesting. I believe the average short is about 30 seconds, if I remember correctly. So you're going to need 5 of these to be able to actually stitch together one whole short. Honestly, I don't think the impact of this is going to be super extensive unless you start getting people like fake reporting, like saying they're on the scene somewhere and the background is that place and it's hard to tell if they're actually there or not, which could be problematic. I personally am having a hard time imagining why this would be good for
Well, why don't you
almost
throw up the
anyone.
example? Why don't you throw up
Yeah,
the
so
examples and
I've
screen share
got
with
those
us here?
here. Your
Yeah,
big face is in front of them. But this is
sorry.
this is the video. This is the
This is
video
what
that
it
we
would be
get.
like. This is what it would be like. You generate the background, and then you just got your face with kind of like a badly cut thing in front of it.
Yeah, so I guess okay.
This is perfect. This is definitely a better experience. Yeah,
The
sorry, carry on.
the concerns that I've had are not really. I guess no. The example says dreamlike, so it's intentionally trying to not be realistic. Honestly, that feels like a calculated move.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to show it creating realistic like scenes. I don't know. I'm sure we'll get these videos with text over them with an AI voice speaking some type of motivational junk, and then that's going to get churned out 10 billion times and fill your shorts feed with garbage and useless content. But other than that, I really I don't know. I have a hard time seeing this creating good content that people actually want.
Talking to YouTube in person, one of the big things that they emphasized with these new AI features, because as you can imagine, in a room full of people whose job it is to create audio and backgrounds and video for a living, right? There's going to be a pretty high degree of sensitivity around AI creation tools, right? So one of the things that they said kind of over and over and over again was, hey, this is not meant to be a replacement for human creativity. These are meant to be tools to enhance human creativity. And I feel like I both agree with YouTube and I wouldn't say disagree, but have serious concerns about it. So the way that they explained it was that there's like a creative loop, right? In your ideation and your execution and your promotion and your publishing and your ideation, your whatever, right? So, theoretically, if a perfect AI would just replace the human element of all of it, it would ideate, execute, promote, and publish, and it would be just a perpetual motion machine that consumes fresh water and electricity, right? The way that they've explained how AI tools will be rolled out on YouTube is that they will not be allowed to function like that because they will keep the human creator in that creation loop. At every stage, there'll have to be human input or human validation, verification, or human tuning. But here's my issue. This VO background thing, I'm certainly the human who's going to say stuff in front of it, right? Because I can
Maybe.
see that being an obvious thing that people might do with this. They're just like kind of creating a vibe. They're creating a mood for the background of just like a short video talking about something or whatever, right? But what about all the humans who worked on like background creation, other than me just like rubber stamping which one I think is good or fine tuning the text prompt that I'm giving it? I feel like they maybe were I feel like they were maybe addressing the concerns of the people in the room, right? Because these are the people that are running the
Yeah.
channels, that are the front man or front lady or whatever, the people who own the business, right? Like they're addressing business owners. If you think about it, top creators, yes, they're people, and you know you connect with them, and some of them are business owners of like a one person business, and some of them are business owners of a 50 or 100 person business, right? But they're effectively business owners if they're operating at the kind of scale that they're at Top Creator Summit, right? Um, what about the people who work on their team? And I feel like they didn't really say anything to me to address any of that. So that's my concern. But then they also said the quiet part out loud, right? And they were like, well, AI is here. And so either we're going to like enable our creative community with it, or they're going to use it anyway with third-party tools, and or our top creators here won't be using it because ne'er do wells are using it for deep fakes, or whatever kind of non-consensual content, or whatever, right? So all we're really doing is accepting, recognizing that this is the reality, and arming our creative community. And I was like, yeah, fair enough, right?
Yeah, I just don't. I mean, I think this is my problem where like the VO stuff, I just don't necessarily see it as like a good thing. I have a really hard time imagining who's going to use this to really benefit much of anything other than spammed out AI generated content, which is already running all over Shorts and Instagram. So they are correct that this isn't giving people a new tool. This already existed. You could already make AI generated backgrounds. You could already make AI generated video backgrounds. You could already make AI generated audio, all this type of stuff. It was all already possible. They're just putting it on YouTube. But we've seen the impact of these tools on other platforms, and I personally haven't seen it generate anything of real significant value other than spam. So I don't know. I don't personally see the good benefit to it. But I don't see it being dramatically worse than what we already have either.
If we make these tools less of like a nerdy, I spend my life working on tools for spamming people, and more of a just I am a thing sitting in the YouTube creator studio that highly creative people now have access to easily and don't need to learn about, is there an argument there that maybe that would actually increase the quality of some of the AI use outputs?
I seriously doubt it, personally.
That's fair.
Because what's the value in it? Like what are you bringing to the table by AI generating a background to this video?
For 6 seconds, honestly.
Yeah.
I think that's that's a big part of it for me, is like, what am I doing with 6 seconds of background? Other than like, but man, part of it too though is like, I, in a lot of ways, feel like a bit of an outsider at events like this, because I can be pretty creative. Like, I think if you tell me like, hey, Linus, come up with an intro hook for the Knock to a Booth coverage at a trade show. And, I get Jacob, and I'm like, okay, Jacob, I need you to stab me in the back with my own screwdriver, and we're going to film like my death scene in your booth. And like, yeah, like I'm kind of creative, but there's a level of creativity that, or like outside of the box thinking that I encounter every time I go to one of these meetups, that I'm just like,
yeah,
if you gave me 1,000 years and 1,000 monkeys and 1,000 typewriters and 1,000 caffeine pills, I would never come up with that. Like I ended up, they did an assigned seating lunch just to force people to mingle a little bit. And I ended up seated across from, I feel terrible because I forget his name, but I ended up seated across from someone who is predominantly a shorts creator, and who actually only even made a channel to promote his ice cream filled donut shop. And so his real business is like he even has like apparel for it, but his real business is actually like franchising out his ice cream filled donut like restaurant. And he just like apparently kills it hard enough on YouTube Shorts that it not only is a great promotional tool for the business,
But it's
but
making money.
it's making money. They're like killing it on YouTube, but completely by accident. And I'm just sitting here going like, sure, right? They highlighted this this super cool example of like tiny fandoms and like community remixing, where it's this channel. I think it's called two gay grandpas who had this travel vlog where they just went and tried stuff and were super charming, and they had like 90 subscribers or something like that. And they uploaded all these videos. Someone remixed it, uploaded it somewhere else, and was like, "Hey, we need to get these guys like some actual views because these videos are great and somebody needs to watch them." And then they immediately had like 100,000 subscribers. Like I would never have thought to put together something like that. Like I don't know, it's just and it's not like these are completely unique ideas. They're just not things that I would have ever thought of. And so when people when YouTube releases a tool, just because I have no idea what I would do with it doesn't mean that nobody's going to do anything really interesting with it. And so I'm always fearful of
Yeah.
saying I don't know what anyone would do with it. I just don't know.
Well, I'm trying to frame it that way specifically because I don't. And like I hope that someone does. All of these tools already exist, and we've seen what the quick to arm themselves with tools, especially when they're free, creative community has done with them, which by and large has been create spam content, or just like, put a quote generator onto a thing, put AI voice on top of all of the quotes, put random backgrounds with like Roman or Gothic or old school Scandinavian or sorry, Nordic, I should say, or whatever, like religious figures, put the quotes in front of it, play the AI voice, spam it on the internet, and then get tons of views. Like that type of stuff is rampant, super rampant. And that's where I'm seeing all of the AI use in short form content go to. I haven't personally seen it to go to practically anything other than that. So maybe I'm not creative enough to find a use for 6-second AI generated clips to go on short form content, but maybe someone will. I imagine there's like someone's gonna grab some form of instrument and sing weird, random, custom, fun songs and have weird AI videos playing behind them because it's like fun and artistic. Hopefully somebody does that. I'm sure there's like a thing or two that people can figure out. But I think by and large, these tools are made to
Create
mass
Jesus?
generate, to mass generate garbage and then try to play on people's like mental things, like wanting to hear quotes that agree with what they say and stuff like that, and then just spam it out.
Okay,
which I don't
well, how
think
about
is
the next
notably
AI feature?
valuable. Okay.
YouTube will also be adding a carousel of highlighted comments and AI comment reply suggestions to YouTube Studio, which is supposed to mimic the style and tone of the creator. I asked some more questions about this, and basically my understanding is that the tuning of this should be done based on your own replies to people's comments on your channel. I asked about the possibility of uploading data to help train it. That's not something that they're looking at right now. Like remember when we showed that really cool community project where someone made like an AI searchable WAN show Q&A like prompt?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I asked like, hey, look, if we had a transcription of like every question and answer we had ever done on the WAN show, like, is that something that we could provide to you to kind of help train this tool? And they're like, no, not at this time. So this
Have
one,
like put like an unlisted video and make a bot that comments every single question on WAN Show ever into it, and then have another bot that replies to each one of those from the creator channel with the proper response to build it ourselves. We can do this.
Okay.
We have the technology.
That's interesting.
You don't like it, Google? We'll do it ourselves.
Here's my problem with this. A reply from the creator is supposed to be a reply from the creator. And I don't really
it's immediately why I winced. Yeah.
This feels like a falsification of that interaction. Like when I reply to someone's comment in the comments, I do go out of my way to sign it LS so you can tell it isn't another member of the team. But that means I replied to you. That doesn't mean that an AI replied to you. And honestly, and I don't mean any disrespect to any of the channels that do this, but when I go on a channel and literally every comment has a reply from the creator that's like, thank you for your comment. YouTube already has a feature that suggests a quick reply. It just is super rudimentary. It just isn't very good. It'll just say like, thanks for your comment, or thanks so much, or like something like that, right? I feel like that's like cringe and crappy. But this is worse because it's almost like
misleading,
okay,
manipulative.
Look, you want to get parasocial? Let's get parasocial, Fine. Let's imagine that we're pen pals with our favorite creator or whatever because they replied, thanks for your comment, right? But now we're almost creating like a whole other like it's not even like real parasocial. Instead, you're getting parasocial with an AI that's trained on what the creator had said in the past. Like dude, I don't know. It just seems pretty messed up, right?
It's like masked creator AI, because with the creator AIs that were made when GPT-4 first popped off, there was a bunch of like date this Twitch streamer things, right? Like I think there's an Amaranth AI or something like that. Those ones are overt. That you're interacting with a fake thing. This one has the masking of it being actually you. So you can't know. And you have to know that certain creators that do certain things on the platform are going to use that to try to amp up, to put some jet fuel on the fire of these parasocial relationships because they benefit from it in X, Y, or Z way. This is another, there's so many, it's like the most frustrating thing with AI stuff is there's so much cool things that we could be doing with these tools, but instead,
we're creating fake parasocial relationships.
Yeah, we're doing just all the like worst, most toxic possible things constantly. It's so bad. Oh man.
It's almost like people are the problem, Luke.
Yeah, people are the problem, and these tools are incredibly expensive. Like the GPU costs, the compute costs, the development costs of all these things.
Yeah.
The power cost, everything is insane for this infrastructure right now. So they're trying to find ways that it can extract as much money as possible.
On that note, this isn't in our notes because it wasn't something that YouTube announced made on YouTube. But one of the things they talked about a lot, how I've discussed with you that I felt like the days of the mega channel are kind of numbered at this point.
Yeah.
And I feel like YouTube is headed toward
Meanwhile,
more like
iShow Speed had 1 million live viewers on a live stream recently. But,
okay, so when I say, I should explain what I mean by mega channel. I guess what I mean is more like a variety channel, and I mean it in when I look at the tech space, I'm referring to us because we do a little bit of everything. We do a review of a phone. We do a tour of a factory that makes we do a tour of a facility that recovers gold from electronic manufacturing waste. We do a video where we walk into someone's house and we cable manage it. We have these kind of random formats that don't really have a common thread other than the personalities, right? And that they're for the most part about tech and mostly IT tech. A lot of other like really high growth, highly engaged channels are much smaller, 100,000 or 200,000 or 500,000 subscribers, but they do one thing and they do it really well. Like one that I really like is HDTV Test. He's up to, I think, somewhere in the neighborhood of between 500,000 and a million subscribers or something right now. And he just talks about display technology, like panel technology, like really gets deep into it. And one of the things that YouTube talked about a lot, but in a way that I hadn't really thought about it before, because I was thinking about it in terms of subject matter, how people are searching out ways to go deep and be part of a very, very small in the know community. They kind of came at it completely the other way, and they kind of went like, people are fans of just about anything. And one of the examples they gave was there's this bridge, 11 foot 8 inches or something like that. I forget what it is, but there's like a famous overpass or bridge that, sorry?
Nothing.
Oh, that has like tons of videos of just trucks like scraping the bottom or hitting it or whatever else, and people will like take selfies with this famous bridge. Okay, yeah. Chat knows what we're talking about. The days of like Madonna, and okay, maybe that's a bad example because we have a current generation Madonna. Her name is Taylor Swift. But my point is that the days of having like one person, Johnny Carson, on his late night show, which I forget what it's called. Was it Tonight Show, Late Show, whatever Johnny Carson's show was, like way back in like the 60s. He was like a single dominant force, and if you like watched TV, you like watched that. These days, like fandoms can be tiny. They showed this channel where this is a YouTuber that has over 150,000 subscribers, and literally her entire channel, fans of her channel, are watching her be a fan of Taylor Swift. She uploaded a feature-length film worth of video reviewing one Taylor Swift album. And right, so you're not even like, so there's, I think I just muted my mic. Am I good? Hello? So there's like proxy fandoms now, almost. And so I was thinking about it in terms of like subject matter. And they're talking about it in terms of like, and they didn't quite say this part, but the way that I interpret it as wanting to be part of a community that isn't too big, and almost like finding something, whether it's like getting super deep into display panel tech, or whether it's getting super deep into like essentially the online version of like a boy or girl band like fan group, that meets after school, right? I forget where I was going with this.
I have no idea, to be completely honest. We're talking about AI stuff, and you're talking about how niche creators are becoming more of a thing.
Yeah.
I don't know how that relates to AI stuff. Are we talking about the new communities part?
No. Yeah, I forget. That's fine.
Okay.
You were about to admit you're a lifelong Swiftie. Oh no, dude, I don't have to. Do I have to admit that? Like, I think I've been pretty upfront. How YouTube is pushing. Okay, not pushing towards smaller creators, but I think is trending towards smaller creators. And yeah, I forget exactly what point I was trying to make, but AI responses. Right. So people crave smaller communities, is what I was trying to say. I think there's a trend on the internet, and maybe in society in general, towards people being actually finally fatigued and overwhelmed by gigantic communities. And I think that one of the ways that is manifesting is as people people craving much smaller communities and more niche interests, whether they were naturally interested in them or not. part of
They
the
want the community.
interest is being one of the people who's into that band that no one else knows. And that exists again in a huge, or exists now in a huge way. And so they illustrated that with fans of this bridge, or fans of a super fan of Taylor Swift. You know, like things that would have never occurred to you or occurred to me in 1,000 years. Like maybe other people would have thought of that. They showed off this grandma. She's like in her 70s, and she has a fan channel of like anime style video games. She's like, I didn't pick up gaming until about 5 years ago, or a few years ago during COVID or something like that. I forget exactly what the video that she said in the video they showed, but I just like love this, and people just come and they join in this fandom, and now I really forget exactly where I was driving to with that, but I think that's a big part of what's driving this. And right, these AI responses, I got there, so I haven't slept much. These AI responses, it feels like they're designed to create like a fake kind of intimacy and smallness of community, and almost designed to
I see where you're
prey
going.
on that craving that people have for being part of something small and something personal and something intimate.
Yeah, that
There.
sucks. That makes a lot of sense.
That's
That
where I
doesn't
was
feel
heading
good.
with this. And look, as much as, you know, as a business person, you know, I look at this fandom concept. It's something that I think you guys, regular viewers of the WAN show, will know that I'm not super into. When we create a product, I want you to buy it because it's a great product. I don't even mind if you buy it if you love the work we do and you want to support our channel. But what I don't want you to do is to buy it because you're a fan. I don't want you to just mindlessly throw your money at us because you're a fan with no capacity for rational thought. That's not what I ask of you. It's not what I want of you. And I feel like an outsider with that perspective. I feel like there's a lot of people that want to lean into fostering that kind of parasociality. I don't know if that's a word, but that kind of fan-like behavior, and I don't think it's healthy. And I don't think that it is. I especially don't think it's healthy when it's fake. Like if I actually show up at LTX and I actually like chat with you and take a selfie, and you actually have a really great personal interaction with me or something, and you're like, yeah, I met Linus and he seems like a nice guy, at least to the extent that I was able to gauge that from chatting with him for 31 and a half seconds at a trade show, right?
That clarification kind of matters, but yeah, I do generally agree with where you're going.
That's fine. That's at least that at least has somewhat of a like basis in reality, right? In your real lived experiences. Whereas if you tell me Linus seems like a cool guy because he created a data set and trained an AI on how to reply to my comment. What?
Yeah, not great. I don't like it at all.
CatOS, I've said your name before.
Maybe they can make this a lot better by flagging what things are AI responses. So communicating to the user that it was an AI response.
I wish I brought that up.
In my opinion, that would help a lot because honestly, if these are just like standard questions you get all the time and you're just like, yeah, whatever, it typed out like a 20-word thing. At that point, they're basically just like fancy canned responses. But even a canned responses feature, I think, would be useful for some people. But yeah, if they're at least communicating, I don't feel like they intend to, because I think they want this to do the things that we've been talking about. But if they flagged it, if they made it so that it was in your face and obvious for the user that this was, you know, Linus AI and not Linus, then that would be good. But you know what would be crazy? I bet you this thing would start signing things off with -ls. It's trained off his comments, right? He's probably the main commenter on the channel.
Every single one has
No,
LS?
because other ones are written by other people. Linus isn't the only person that has commented.
True. That's true.
But I still think it would probably do it sometimes because enough of those comments are signed by LS. I'm assuming at least
probably
30
90,
to 40%.
Over 90%.
Over 90%? Oh, okay,
Oh,
yeah.
easy. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so then it's definitely going to sign with -ls, which, if it isn't flagged as an AI, is immediately egregiously misleading.
All right. Shall we keep talking?
Yeah, let's see if it gets better from here.
So far, none of these features have really made me concerned about the future of content on the platform. This next one does. They're adding an inspiration tab with AI brainstorming and idea generation tools with the intention, again, this is the way they kind of communicated to us, with the intention being that it's a helper. It's an assistant. You're still expected to kind of feed it. And I asked, what are you guys looking at in terms of data set? Is this trained on my best videos? Is it trained on my videos? Is it trained on videos from similar creators that share a lot of audience overlap with me? Is it based on the overall what's the word, corpus of content on YouTube? What's the data set for this? And they didn't really get too specific about it, but unfortunately, I did try to ask some tough questions. I don't know why they keep inviting me to these things. Honestly, I tend to be a bit of a thorn. I'm a nice thorn. I'm a nice thorn, though. Nice thorn. Pretty thorn.
Demure.
So the idea is that it's a helper, but the problem with any AI is the second you start training it on something that was AI generated, it starts to decay. It starts to become a photocopy of a photocopy, and the actual creativity starts to disappear. And I guess what my concern is that on the surface, I look at this and I go, yeah, that could be kind of helpful. I have a couple of ideas. I spitball them into the inspiration tab. It craps out a couple of other, ideas that are riffed off of, maybe some videos that were really successful. Okay, I go and make that. Do we start doing that enough that the videos that are being uploaded to the platform, while not entirely AI generated, are at least influenced enough by AI that we start training our AI on AI inspired ideas and start losing some of that humanness and some of that creativity across the platform? To your point earlier, I totally get that these are not new tools. I could totally just do this in ChatGPT right now.
Yeah.
But this is specifically trained off of YouTube. Exactly in what capacity? Not sure. But it's trained off of YouTube. And if it continues to be trained off of YouTube, are we going to be like the snake eating its own tail a little bit here and just consume everything that's good about it, that's unique about it? Yeah, that kind of says it all, doesn't it?
I feel like basically everything I said about the VO 6-second clips, again, it applies to here. I'm not surprised that they're doing it. This also feels to me like it's trying to compete with Mr. Beast's new tool. Mr. Beast, what would you even call it? How would I find this? Mr. Beast, YouTube, and
I forget. Surprisingly, we actually don't really subscribe to a ton of creator tools.
Yeah, ViewStats Pro is a Mr. Beast tool. I think this is the one. Is this the right one? I'm pretty sure.
I don't know, whatever. Some Mr. Beast tool.
I'm not 100% sure, but I think this is it. It does things like what you're talking about. It tries to show, if you're thumbnail with a golden controller. I believe it can do things like try to find that for you. I haven't used this in a while. I looked at it at one point in time, so I hope I'm not saying stuff that's wrong. Get to know Pro. Yeah, organize and brainstorm your next upload. Make better decisions with more data. Blah, 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 blah. I think they're trying to bring these tools onto YouTube natively. Track long and short outlier videos in each category. That one's actually pretty interesting. Search thumbnails by URL and image. So you can, if I remember correctly, with that tool, you can search for like thumbnails basically by giving topics, and then it'll try to find you thumbnails for inspiration, so you can like fall in line with a type of theme that's happening on the platform, which again just contributes to more sameism, which I don't know. Again, the tools already exist. They're just trying to bring more eyeballs directly onto YouTube and have them leave less, I think.
In non-AI features, YouTube has also added communities, which are similar to creator-controlled Discord servers or subreddits, where both the creator and their subscribers can post text, links, and images. This one, believe it or not, I actually like. There's a lot of friction moving people off platform. To be clear, I don't see this as a substitute for off-platform engagement. I think that off-platform engagement is important. But you know how we have both Floatplane, where we have like 37,000 paying subscribers right now. So we've got our Floatplane platform, but we also turned on YouTube memberships, which has like, I think another 500 or something like that members. It's like there's certain people. Did we hit 38?
We're not quite, but we're 37,931.
No. I know. That's why I said 37,000. I didn't want to exaggerate.
You can round up by 69. No. I think 69 is an acceptable number to round up on.
I'll tell you what, Luke. I'll tell you what. Why don't you screen share some of the great exclusives we have on Floatplane right now? Go ahead. Do it real quick. Let's try to add the 69. Let's get it done. And then I can say we have 38,000 subscribers on Floatplane. Okay?
Wow.
So you go ahead, get some cool exclusives people might want to check out up there. And in the meantime, I will keep talking. So we have about 500 members on YouTube as well. I'm not going to say no to people who are willing. They pay extra. The last time I looked at it, they pay extra. We're transparent about that because YouTube takes a very significant cut there that does not go toward the salaries of our developers who develop Floatplane. But they just don't want to leave the platform. And a lot of people are like that. They just are not interested in engaging off of the YouTube platform. And I think that there should be features that allow us to be there for them, and engage with them. Like I like community posts. There's actually a fair bit of pretty solid engagement there, solid interaction. I just wish that it was. I wish that community members could interact with each other more easily. They've significantly tamped down on the number of like sex bot comments and stuff like that. It's not perfect.
Still happens.
There's still. Oh, it still happens. But dude, you compare it to what it was like a year ago.
Infinite arms race. Yeah, it'll always happen to a certain degree. I think.
Yep. They've improved a lot.
They can do. Yep,
and we've got to give credit where it's due.
For sure.
And I think you and I have talked a lot over the years about how underinvested YouTube comments and community is. So is this exactly the right way for them to do it? I don't know. Maybe not. But is it something?
I think my biggest problem with this is a complete non-confidence that I have with Google these days, to the point where there's like serious conversations about ripping out workplace solutions that we have at the company from Google right now, because there's a big question on like, what if this is even going to exist in a year? Because they keep rug pulling every single thing that they have, and then extremely core features that other platforms and other companies are providing these days. Google is not providing, so they're not expanding in the way that other companies are, and they're just killing products that people actually do really like constantly. So if they're going to create this communities feature, and creators are going to invest into, because it is an investment, if creators are going to invest into making these communities vibrant and trying to encourage people to come over here, very likely cannibalizing their own already created Discord communities that have been, cultivated and grown over the years, have moderators built into it, have likely tools made for moderation, all this other type of stuff that they've custom built for that or custom tuned for that. And then YouTube rug pulls this new community feature. It will be incredibly frustrating for genuinely everyone involved. And at this point in time, I have no trust in Google that they will actually keep this around, because they've proven that would be misplaced trust. So it would be unwise for me to do so. I think it's also, as much as I do like things like community posts, this feels like it's creating yet another thing that has to have moderation from it, from your team or from your community. This creates we have this
Chewy's gotta work.
problem where so many YouTubers are doing weird, creepy things with kids. And now this is another thing that parents are going to have to be aware of in regards to ways that there could be bad communication. Because I think it took years for parents to be properly aware of Discord, which
and even then it's barely.
Seem to be now. Barely? Okay, yeah, I don't know.
In our parent-teacher conferences this year, the teachers brought up Discord for the first time.
Okay, yeah. So
just to give you some
like
idea of how long it takes for things to make it to the mainstream.
Something like this is going to take forever. So there's I want to like it. If this was honestly 8 years ago, I think I would have been super stoked.
Okay.
But
Let me play
now,
devil's
especially
advocate.
in light with everything else that's coming out, I'm just a little sketched out.
Let me play devil's advocate. It's going to be hard, but I'm going to try.
I believe in you.
Google, you're right, kills a lot of stuff. They kill a lot of good stuff. They kill a lot of beloved stuff. They create a bunch of kind of half-baked stuff, and then they kill that, and that's probably for the best. The YouTube team, do they really create and kill that much compared to Google? Could we have a bit more trust in the YouTube team specifically? And I'm just asking questions.
Do you want to jump on that? Or
Yeah. No,
so they did actually, they killed paid channels.
Yes.
They did bring, I think it's called memberships now, YouTube memberships. They brought that back, but it wasn't right away. So they got creators into the paid channel cycle and then dropped all of them while they were developing the new ones. They didn't develop the new one and then convert everybody over. They just dropped everyone for at least a couple of years, I think it was, to the point where, again, so this is actually a community building thing, right? They had creators build communities on these paid private channels, or whatever exactly it was called, or however it worked. We didn't use it, and it's been a long time. But they had us included, right? Like we might have actually used that at that time if it existed and was good, but it didn't. So they got creators like Awesome Sauce, Bitwit, Kyle, creators like that, bought into this ecosystem, brought their users in, got people to subscribe, built these communities, were talking more active, all that type of stuff in that community, trying to incentivize people to actually enjoy their time there, right? And then all of those creators just got completely dropped, and now they have to bring all of their audience again to some other type of platform, all of their committing
to
audience
Patreon, to
Patreon or Floatplane or whatever else. And then they start YouTube memberships, and now it's like, oh my god! So do I bring everyone back, or do I split and do both, or what? So they have done that before. I will say, however, that I do generally agree that the YouTube team doesn't seem as rug pulley as Google as a whole. Most of the things that YouTube has introduced, there's some semblance of it still around, I think.
You know what came up in one of my breakouts at the summit? It's one of my favorite features that they killed. I never got into stories on like Snapchat or any other platform because I don't use those platforms. I actually really liked them on YouTube, and they never really fully implemented the feature. It literally never worked on my folding phone, even though that's Android, and like kind of a Google product and stuff. And then they just like quietly got rid of it when they introduced Shorts, and and it came up in one of the breakouts that people loved stories and were like, hey, can you guys bring it back? And YouTube's argument for why they got rid of it and didn't bring it back, we conveniently had the person who spearheaded stories right there in our breakout. These summits are really amazing because we really do get access to top level people at YouTube and get to have these conversations. The reason was apparently, even though creators really liked it, user engagement with it was super low. And so, I don't know, maybe you guys can tell me, do you miss stories at all? Like, or do you just not care? And am I maybe just kind of out of touch and like feeling like you guys were engaging with it? We didn't really post that many because my daily driver phone didn't support it, but never used them. Nope, didn't care at all. Yeah, so didn't care, didn't use. So there you go. I don't even remember it. We got like one person who missed them and cared. That's about it. And they're apparently kind of hard to use. I mean, it was a half-baked implementation, so that's probably part of the problem.
Yeah.
But other than people have brought up dislikes, I don't really see that as taking away a feature so much as changing the functionality of the site. So I'm not sure I fully agree with that one. They definitely did get rid of annotations.
I think it was taking away a feature. The ability to view dislikes on a video? Yeah, I think so.
Well, I think that you could say the ability to gauge sentiment on a video, they've made it worse. But they didn't take it away. You can see
they took away
likes.
your ability to yeah, that doesn't mean anything when there's no dislikes.
Dude, Luke, I'm not a fan of the change. I'm just saying I don't think it's the removal of a feature so much as it is the changing of the functionality of a feature to make it worse, which is not a good thing. I just don't think it's quite the same thing. That's all I'm saying. They removed stories.
If it doesn't exist anymore. If it was an overall karma counter, I think I would agree with you, but because you could separately see like and dislike, I think dislike is its own feature at that point. Like and dislike are separate features. If it was a combined total and they took away your ability to see the combined total or something, that's modifying it. But yeah, I don't know. I think if it's dislike and with its own counter, they're removing a feature, which is dislike.
Agree to disagree.
All right, fair enough. There you go.
YouTube is also testing a new hype feature, which they actually didn't talk about really at the summit, where viewers can choose to promote a recent video posted within the last 7 days from a creator with fewer than 500,000 subscribers. Highly promoted videos will appear on a special leaderboard and will be marked as fan favorites. Viewers can hype up to 3 videos a week for free or pay for more.
Pay for more.
Man, so this is back to, I guess, actually, I actually wasn't aware of this one. I didn't carefully go through the Made on YouTube thing after we were like in person showing a lot of it. So I didn't know about this one. This just feels like monetizing super small intimate communities again. Yeah.
And small creators. Because what? If you really want to make it, you're not going to pay for your own channel to get hyped?
Oh, no, God, I didn't even think about it that way.
Yeah, no, immediately. That's what this is for sure. You're also going to have super fans that do that for sure. I think they're mostly going to use their free ones, and then you're going to have some hyper super fans that will actually use the paid version. And then I guarantee you, small creators that are really hell-bent on making it as a creator, whether this feature really works or not, are going to invest money into hyping their own content with their own actual account, or if it shows whose account did it, they'll just make fake ones and do it that way. Ready
for a little bit more devil's advocate?
Sure.
Wonky Donkey in Floatplane Chat asks, is this feature amazing just because there are so many massive incumbents that no one can rise up? Is this potentially a clumsy, flawed tool that could benefit somebody?
I think if that was true, YouTube could just do it organically, which I think YouTube does extremely successfully. I think YouTube is one of, if not the best platforms on the internet for organic growth of a creator. I think something like Twitch, is going to naturally, based on how Twitch works, be a lot worse at that. But I see new creators on YouTube if I was on it every day, I'd probably see new creators on YouTube every
fair.
day. Like,
I think that's fair. I was devil's advocating.
Yeah.
Advocating.
YouTube has extremely strong discoverability mechanics already. Like it's honestly really, really good, almost to the point where if anything, it's like pulling down its most successful creators because it's kind of so obsessed with showing you new stuff all the time.
All right, let's get through the rest of the YouTube stuff and talk about some more. Let's move on. But there's a couple more things. YouTube has confirmed they're rolling out pause screen ads more widely. So I'm sure I know how you guys feel about that.
Who cares?
Yeah, cool. YouTube is also expanding its creator takeover program, where advertisers can pay a premium to take over all the ads on a particular channel for some period of time. Just so you guys know, we were sent an email from YouTube inviting us to join this program, and we have confirmed with them that we do have the ability to opt out of takeovers that are from advertisers that we have a strong objection to.
Cool.
So we actually recently reconfirmed, because they brought it up with us again, that we have continued to be opted out of any gambling and alcohol related ads. So you guys will not see those on our channel if everything is running correctly. Nice. And we will apply our typical sponsor restrictions, guidelines, our typical sponsor guidelines to these takeovers as well. The only exception you might see is if we miss an email or something like that. Like it will, if something bad happens, it will be an accident. That's not me priming you guys for that we're going to accident on purpose. I'm just saying we are not perfect. As you guys well know, we are very human and accidents do happen. So that would be why that would happen. We have published our sponsor, like our sponsor guidelines. Luke, do you have any idea where that is?
It's on the forum somewhere, isn't it?
It is. It is on the forum somewhere, but I just don't know where. Yeah, I don't see it right now, and sorry. If someone has the link, post it in the Floatplane chat. But it's somewhere on the forum where we outline all of the things that we are not okay with at this present time. All right. Oh, wait, I might have found it. LMG sponsors do not work with list.
Discussions. Yeah, there we go.
There it is. We don't do drugs and alcohol. We do not believe this is responsible for us to promote at this time. I love that, at this time. We leave the door open, but not at this time. Crypto, NFTs, ICOs. This is not a field we want to get mixed up in at this time. Credit loans. We want to avoid promoting these things directly. We've worked with banks and financial institutions in the past that offer these services, but we want to avoid promoting them directly. Drop shipping as a service. After our initial fact finding, we worked with one of these companies last year, but based on community feedback, we do not plan to again. Gaming chairs that do not prioritize ergonomics. Mental health / therapy. We are pro therapy. We advise anyone reading this to prioritize their mental health. But we do not intend to promote any companies who profit from these services at this time. Online sports betting, gambling more broadly. We do not believe this is responsible for us to promote at this time. Pay to win games. So our bar for games is that we do actually have someone internally play the game. If it can be enjoyed without the need to sink money into it, we know this is a fine line, but we're okay with it. If it is absolutely not enjoyable without paying money, then we do not feel it is appropriate to promote at this time. And finally, unproven Kickstarter / Indiegogo campaigns. We will work with companies that have a long history of launching products and that basically just use these platforms as a marketing vehicle, but just complete nobodies. We just don't want people to get burned, and we've accidentally promoted things that we were really unhappy that we ultimately put a spotlight on.
Mostly back in like Kickstarter's heyday. Yeah.
Yeah.